Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Knock Rio, and this is going to be a little bit different video. Um, I just was inspired to actually shoot it because I realized like I never told this story in a real public forum before. So I don't know if there's probably one person I know for sure that knows because she explained it to me, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. I ain't gonna make it too long, but I was inspired because I saw a video today of a guy who's real emotional. He was like, "Listen, I buried my uncle three years ago, and I saw him in Walmart, and I talked to him, and that might sound like the wildest thing ever, right?" um, but things happen in this world, and I learned that we're in a place we don't really understand. We don't understand 100% of where we are, and in a way that's kind of a good thing. In a way it's kind of a bad thing because I feel like we don't really reach our potential until we really understand where we are and where we come from, and the power that we actually have. So I'll get into it real quick. Like I said, I ain't gonna take too long. I'm already a minute and a half in. I ain't told you nothing yet. But so anyway, here's my story. I'm here in Rio de Janeiro. This story is one of the reasons why I'm here in Rio de Janeiro. One day I was staying not too far from here, just down the street here. I actually had come to Brazil. Let me start back. In 2014, I came to Brazil for 3 months. I started in July. I left it somewhere like around October or something like that. September, October, I left. I was here for 3 months, went home to the United States. Kind of hated it. I just had fell in love with Brazil. And so I was like, I stood out here in Leme at the other end of Copacabana here. I stood on the pier out there looking at that water the day before I was supposed to leave. And I was like, listen, I'm gonna be back here, but I don't know when I'm gonna be back. So I left here, I went home to Ilhabela, which is in Sao Paulo state. Got my things, and like a week later, I was back in the United States. And I lasted maybe like 6 weeks. In about 6 weeks, I was here in Rio. I was standing right back in that place in Leme where I said that I'm gonna be back here, but I don't know when I'm gonna be able to come back. And 6 weeks later, I was standing in that same spot. Like I manifested this. I said this out loud. This is where I'm gonna be. And not even 6 weeks. 6 weeks later, I'm standing in the same spot. And I had no real plan when I left here that I was going to end up back here. So when I came back the second time, I didn't go to Sao Paulo. I came here to Rio, and I stayed not far from here, maybe 7-8 minutes down the road here. So and I stayed for like 3 months. And during that time, I used to walk, just exploring and stuff like that. I didn't know the city that well. I'd only been here 4 days the first time. I came from Sao Paulo. I stayed over there 3 months, but I was over here only 4 days. So I was like, let me explore a little bit. It took me a while to get comfortable in Rio because it just feels like everybody's watching you. It just the way the buildings are and everything. It's just like, you just feel like you're being watched all the time. You can feel the eyeballs on you. And it took me a while to kind of get out and start walking around and stuff and feeling comfortable just being around in the city. And then one day I went over here to Ipanema, which is not far. It's like, if I walk from here to where I'm talking about, it's probably 15 minutes for me to walk, right? And so there's some streets there that are, sometimes they're on a little bit of an angle, like you don't really notice while you're on the street, but then when you see where like the beach is, you realize like it's kind of on an angle sometimes. And so I'm walking, to the beach one day, and I get out there. There's a Zona Sul shopping center on the one corner. There's a street that kind of comes in front of that, and there's a street that goes perpendicular, toward, like dead ends into the beach. And behind that's like a park and all that stuff or whatever. So I'm walking, and I'm looking, and I just open my eyes and I'm like, oh, I never noticed that before. I see the mountains, like you see Dos Hermanos Mountains, the two mountains that are the Ipanema Mountains that you see on every commercial in the movies and stuff like that. That's what I see. And it's like 11 o'clock in the daytime. I didn't smoke nothing. I didn't drink nothing. It's 11 o'clock in the daytime or whatever. Clear, beautiful, sunny day. And I'm looking at this mountain and it's bugging me out because I'm like, I've never seen the mountain up this close. How did I miss that before? I can't believe that you can see the mountain, all the detail. I can see the tree line and I can see all of this stuff, like clear as day. I can see everything. I'm closing my eyes, open my eyes again, close them again, open again, and it's there. And so I'm like, how did I get this far down the beach? Because where that mountain is like 2 miles down the road, maybe 3 miles down the road, on one end of Ipanema. Where I was going was Arpador, which is the rock formation on the left side. And that's pretty close to the street where I come out on that street. It's not that far. You can walk there in like 10 minutes. But to get to those mountains, you're going to walk like an hour. So you might do it faster if you're walking really fast, but it's going to take you an hour to walk down there. So that mountain is far. So basically, I'm looking at this mountain and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I've never seen that before. I've never even been to that end of the beach. At that point in time, I had never even been down there. So I've never even seen the mountain up close. So I'm like, how can I see it in all this detail? And I'm looking like, how the hell did I get down this far down the beach? I'm like, I know these streets kind of have angles and stuff like that or whatever, but how did I end up this far down the beach? And I was kind of pissed. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to walk all the way back down to Arpador because that's where I'm going. I'm like, man, I gotta walk that far. And so I get to the end of the streets. I pass the Zona Azul or whatever. I get to the end of the street and I'm like, I went to look to see where Arpador is off to my left. I turned and I looked and I'm like, oh shit, Arpador is right there. It's right there. I turned back and the mountain is gone. Tripped me out. Yo, I was shook. Like I'm like dead shook for a long time because I'm like, yo, that's impossible. I turned to the right and the mountain is like 3 miles down the road. And I'm like, yo, that's impossible. Like it really shook me to my core. It's like, I remember getting home, it was like, I kind of wanted to post about it, but I was like, I couldn't post because I was like, people are going to think I'm crazy. Like, they're not going to understand, number one, like what I saw. They're not going to understand because they don't understand like the logistics of where I was and all that kind of stuff. It was like, I can't really explain it well enough for them to understand it, but I know it happened. I know what I saw. And so it took me a long time just to kind of come to grips. And I was like, you know what? This world, sometimes there might be something else going on. There might be other dimensions or something else going on because there's no way that I should have seen what I saw at the time that I saw it, and not having ever seen that before in my life. It's almost like there was a glitch somewhere and I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. So I can't explain it. I still to this day I can't explain it, but one of the things I always tell myself here when times get hard or when I'm not able to do certain things or whatever, or I'm trying to accomplish something that ain't kind of going right or whatever, I always remember that I'm in the right place for me because I'm in the place where the mountain moved for me. I know that I'm in the right place. Every time I went back to the United States, things would just go wrong. Everything would just go wrong. But every time I was coming this way, everything would go right. So I felt like the universe was like, yo, like, what are you doing going back there? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be here. I'm showing you. And it was like, it showed me. Like, you're supposed to be here. I will move the mountains for you. And it like showed me. And I had a friend of mine who's a good friend of mine. I had not seen her probably, it was at least 10 years that I had not seen her, not spoke to her or anything. And I was in New York. I had a really bad day at work. Of course, I wanted to be in Brazil, but I'm in New York or whatever. I had a really bad day. Just family things was going on, stuff like that. It was just rough at that point. I just really was at my breaking point. And she messaged me. I don't think she called me. I think she just happened to message me or something. And I got on a call with her that night, and she was into like Reiki and some of that stuff, and I really didn't know about that. She introduced me to like Abraham Hicks and Law of Attraction and all that stuff that night. Like we had this whole conversation for like hours, and I told her my experience, and she said, "You know what happened was you were in Brazil for 3 months first, and you didn't have the stresses of being in the United States. You couldn't hear the negativity of the language because I didn't have Portuguese as well as I do now. I didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't being inundated with negative thinking at all. I didn't know anything negative. Everything I was doing was positive. Everything, parties and having fun and going to the beach and chilling on the beach all day and having drinks and stuff like that. Like I didn't have any of that negative stuff. I wasn't hearing any negative news. I was just living life. And everywhere I go, I explain it to people like everywhere I go, because it's a new country, is like being born again. It's like being a baby that never saw this thing before, never saw this beautiful beach, never seen this part of the earth before, this person before. Everything you experience is like being a newborn baby. You're just taking it in like, oh, wow, like I've never seen this before. So she told me that I was just vibrating on such a high plane that the universe allowed me to see something that I wouldn't believe is possible. I just got to a place where I saw something that should not have been able to be seen. And she was like, she encouraged me, at that point in time. She's just like, yo, like, start listening to these people, take what you can from it, start meditating, manifesting what you want. And I started, man. I was after that crazy. Like I was just like obsessed with with consuming law of attraction and meditation and all that stuff. I became obsessed with it. And trust me, there's still some other things that happened to me through that process that I would have never believed would have happened. I'm not going to tell those stories here because I'm going on too long already. But all I'm saying is meditate, whatever you want, change your mindset towards that. Sometimes it requires you moving to a different location to get to where you're supposed to be, and for the universe to show you that you're supposed to be here. But when it's meant for you and it's something that you're supposed to do, it comes true. And it took me a couple of years or whatever like that, but I ended up moving here and living here. I've been living here for 7 years, and it's home to me in a way because I saw the mountain move. So that's the story. That ain't no music or nothing with it. I might throw some music underneath it or whatever to make it hot. But that's my story. That's your boy, Doc Rio. I never told this story to anybody, and now I'm telling you. Peace.